Hello and welcome to AutoCAD for Beginners. In this particular video, I am going to be discussing dimension lines, layers, texts, and printing your project on scale. So this video is going to be a bit, advanced one because we have already learned the drawing utilities and the basic user interface. So now slowly we are learning other things and other aspects of AutoCAD apart from just drawing your drawing. So now I'm going to be talking about how to insert dimension lines. The command for that is dim, and if you don't want to do that, you can just select the dimension icon from here. Say I want to mark the length of this window. I do this, I specify the second point, and then I specify the third point. Now this is where most of the people they find a problem, because the dimension is coming quite small, and even the line is not, the arrows are coming small, the lines are coming small. So most people they get very anxious looking at this, that how am I going to fix this? There's some problem with my AutoCAD version. Don't worry, you're going to set the dimension styles using a simple command called dim style. You enter the command dim style, that means dimension styles, and it opens this dimension style manager. So now over here there are different dimension styles. You can create a new dimension style, say tutorial, and I'm going to click on continue. So now you can see that we have these so many settings over here. For example, lines, symbols and arrows, text, fit, units, alternate units, tolerances. I'm going to be discussing some basic things over here. So in line, you can select the color of the dimension lines. I don't want to change them, but I'm just going to keep them constant. And it's asking me extension lines. Extension lines are the lines that extend beyond this arrow. So it's asking me the color of the extension lines, it's asking me the dimension, how far it should extend, and the offset from the origin. I don't want to change any of this, so I'm just going to the next option, which is symbols and arrows. Now you can see the type of the arrowheads. You can change the type of the arrowheads. I'm going to change it to architectural tick, and the leader to architectural tick as well. Now I find the arrow size to be too small. Let me just change it to say 100, and I think rest everything is fine. Break size, all of this is fine. Now the text height, I'll change it to 100 again, and I guess rest everything is just fine. So I'm just going to click OK and close. You see this dimension has not changed now. That's because it's still in a different dimension style. You can just change it. Select this, go down on this, and you can see ISO 25 is being selected. You can just click on the drop down menu and you can select your own dimension style. So over here it's written 1000. That means the length of this window is 1000 millimeters. But writing 1000, it seems too problemsome for me. I suppose I want this length and I want all my dimensions to be in meters. But since I've drawn the drawing in a scale 1:1, and I don't want to change that. So how am I going to change the dimension style? You just type dim style, enter, and you again click on modify. Over here you can see the primary units. In primary units you can set your precision to whatever you want. Now I'm going to enter a suffix of meters. Now it's asking me a round off and a scale factor. So I'm going to apply a scale factor because since my drawing is in millimeters and I want it to be in meters, the scale factor would be of 0.001 because that's how many meters there are in 1 millimeter. So that's how I defined the scale factor. Since I entered the suffix as m, this is how it's going to show. And I'm just going to click on OK here. I'm going to close this window. As you can see, my dimension has now changed to 1 meter. The next thing I'm going to be discussing is layers. Layers are typically very important when you're working in architectural AutoCAD drawings. So the box for layers is this one. Over here you can see the layer properties. Presently I have 3 different layers. 0 and depth point layers are the default layers of AutoCAD and they are going to remain. So the other 3 layers are door, wall and windows. Over here in my drawing, if I select the door, you can see which layer it is in. So doors are in the layer of door, the window are in the layer of windows, and of course my walls are in the layer of walls. Now, how do you make different layers and how do you put objects into your own layers? So first of all, I'm going to tell you how to create a new layer. Suppose for a dimension, I'm going to create a new layer. I go over here and I click on new layer option. A new layer has appeared over here and I'm going to call it dimensions. And I'm just going to click anywhere in the window and this layer is now created. Now how do I put this particular object, which is presently in the default layer 0, to our dimension layer? It's quite easy. You just select this, click on the drop down menu and select dimensions. It is now in the layer dimensions. If you want to continue working in this particular layer called dimensions, all of the work you do or all of the objects you create are going to be in this particular layer. Since now you know how to create layers and how to put objects in layers, I am going to tell you what can we actually do with the option layers. So over here we can see different things. For example, this light, small lights on which it's on, suns, locks, lots, colors, line types, line weights, transparency, new VP, new viewport, freeze, and description. So we have all of these different options available here, and I'm going to go through each one of them for you to understand how layers actually work. For example, these are the different these denote the availability of the layers. For example, if I just put the layer of the doors to off, then my doors are going to disappear from the drawing. If I select this to on, all my doors are going to appear back again. If I only want to work on my doors and I want everything to go dark, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to select all but current. So current layer is this one. I need to make the current layer doors because we want to work on doors, and rest everything I want to turn it off. So I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to click on select all but current, and now I'm going to put off all of them. Now you can see all of the other things have disappeared except for the doors. I'm just going to put this on back again. Now freeze. Freeze is a similar version of putting on and off layers. The only difference being that freeze temporarily deletes the objects from your AutoCAD file. So if I actually freeze my walls, the walls are going to disappear just like how it would disappear if I just put this off. The only difference is that these walls are now temporarily deleted. This actually saves space in AutoCAD, and if you're working on a pretty large file, you can just freeze different layers in which you're not working, and it's going to save a lot of space and make your computer work faster in AutoCAD. For now, I'm just going to unfreeze this. The next thing is lock. For example, I just locked my walls. What happens with this is that we can still see what's there in the layers, but we cannot change it. For example, I select it and I try to move it, it's not happening. So that's what lock does. The next thing is plot. Basically I just put everything on plot to on because this represents what's going to be printed and what's going to be not printed. For example, if I don't want the doors to print, I'm just going to select this. So a negative sign has come in front of the printer. That means that the doors are not going to be plotted. The third thing is the color. You can of course change the colors of different objects in your drawing. For example, I have a brownish color for the door, a bluish color for the window. Now I'm going to change the color for the dimensions. You just have to click on this white box and a dialog box of select color appears. From here you can select any color that you want. Say I select orange and I click on OK. So you see everything in the layer, it just turns to orange, that particular color that you selected. The next is the line type. Over here all the line type is denoted as continuous. To change that, you just have to click on this. Presently we have only one type of line, so to load the type of lines, you're just gonna click on load, and you see we have different kinds of line appearing over here. Suppose I select ISO dash and click OK. Over here I'm going to have to select the ISO dash again and select load. And I'm sorry, we don't have to select load. We have to select this ISO dash line and we have to click on OK. Now this particular line has changed to dash. If you can see that we cannot see the dash here very clearly, but if we zoom in, this layer has been converted to a dashed line. All of the objects in this layer, they are appearing in a dashed format. So that's how we can change the line type. The third is the line weight. For example, if I want to change the line weight to a different value, default is the minimum line weight. Suppose I want to change it to 0.3 mm and I click OK. You see nothing has changed. That is because our line weights are not visible. To make them visible, you just have to type in the command line weight, and over here you are going to check this box display line weight and you're going to click on OK. So now you can actually see your line weights. This is 0.3 mm. Last is the transparency. You can change the transparency of your object from over here in this layer. You just have to select this and you can increase the transparency value as you want. I don't want to change the transparency presently, so I'm not going to change this value. New viewport freeze is similar to the plot option. If you select this, it's just going to freeze, just going to delete objects only from your viewport. I'm going to discuss what viewports are in a matter of seconds further in this video only, so you'd better understand this option. For now, I'm just going to cancel this. The next thing I'm going to be teaching is text. How to enter text in your file. Now, if you go over here and you click this down arrow, you can see that there are two types of texts in AutoCAD. One is a multi-line text and the second is a single line text. First, I'm going to show you what a single line text is. Just click on this and it's asking me to specify the start point of the text. Just say I want my text to start from here. It's asking me to specify the height. Let the height of my text be, say, 250. Enter. And it's asking me to specify the rotation angle, which I want to be 0. So this cursor has appeared over here and you can type in whatever you want. For example, I'm just going to type in foyer. Now, since you see that this has appeared in a brown color, the reason being that we are still working in the door layer. So if you want to change the layer of the text, you can do it later or you can do it now by exiting it. Now I'm just going to type in my different areas. For example, this, and I'm just going to click on escape. So you can enter text, as much text as you want, in the same format. To put it in a different layer, you can just select this, go to layer properties, add new, and click change the layer name to text, change the color to, say, pink or magenta, whatever you call it. Select this, go down from here and click on text. So now I have put this in a new layer called text. I hope that was quite easy. The third thing that I'm going to be showing you is multi-line text. So you just click on the down arrow here and select on multi-line text. It's asking me to specify the first corner. So say I select this corner and it's asking me to specify the opposite corner. So this was my dialog box. This is how wide my text is going to be, and this is how down it's going to go. So let me just show you by starting to type a few sentences. So you see I'm typing all rubbish, but it's appearing to be exactly that wide. So that's what multi-line text does. It's how it works. I'm just going to delete this, go back on my layer 0 and work according to that. Now I'm going to be telling you how to print your project on scale. It's a pretty easy task. It may appear to be a little overwhelming because we're going to change the look of the AutoCAD for now. Over here you can see in the status bar there are three options: model, layout 1 and layout 2. Over here you can select layout 1 and you can see that a white screen has appeared instead of a black one, and you can see our project, whatever we did, whatever we created over here. If you zoom in, the whole paper zooms in and you cannot see the details clearly. If you zoom out, the whole paper zoom out. So this is basically your paper that's going to be printed, and this is your project. but we don't want the project to be like this. We want it to be scaled. So for that, I'm just going to double click inside this. This is called a viewport. So, and these are the different scales on which the viewport is working presently. So the scale that is presently here is 0.05263. If I zoom in, the scale over here changes. So if you want to print to a scale, you're going to have to change the scale from here. Over here, I'm just going to click this down arrow and say I'll select a scale of 1:100. 1:100. Since 1:100 fits perfectly on the paper, let me just show you if your project doesn't quite fit on the paper perfectly as this. So let me just select a scale of 1:30. So you see that this project now is not fitting into this paper. So now what we are going to do is we are going to change the size of the paper. And how we're going to do that is we are going to right click on this and we are going to open the page setup manager. Over here we can click on new and we are going to click on OK. So over here you can see the different sizes of page that you can set up. First you're going to select the printer plotter. I basically select DWG to PDF. DWG is the file format for all your AutoCAD drawings, and since I want to plot a PDF, I'm going to select this one, DWG to PDF printer. Paper size is presently selected to ISO A4, that is an A4 sheet. If you want to change that, say I am putting it on A2, and since my drawing orientation is a bit portrait, so I'm going to select that, and it's asking me what to plot and everything else, but since I already have the viewport on, I'm just going to select on OK, and I'm going to select this and I'm gonna close this now. As you can see, the paper size has changed and my viewport is still small. So what am I gonna do is I'm just gonna select outside the viewport and just click on the corner edge of the viewport. Over here I can change the size of the viewport as I want. And I double click inside it, and now I can just place my object inside the viewport. Since you can see that now the object is perfectly placed inside the viewport on a scale of 1:30, the viewport also has a boundary. Now if you don't want that boundary to come in your print, there are two options. The first one is basically you can just expand the viewport. For example, if you just click on it and you just expand it outside the size of the paper, then it's not going to come, and then it's not going to print. And the other option is you make a new layer for viewport and you just freeze it. That way the viewport will not be visible. So I'm going to explain the second option. Over here I'm going to go to the layer properties. I'm going to select new and I'm going to name this viewport. Now I'm going to select my viewport and put it inside this layer. Now I simply just freeze this layer. As you can see, my viewport is now gone and you can plot the sheet. To simply plot the sheet, you're just gonna have to enter the command plot. and you see a setup has emerged again. Over here you can preview your PDF. That's how it's going to look on paper. You can directly plot it from here, or you can cancel this and click on OK. That way you'll just simply print your PDF. I guess that is it for this video. Keep practicing AutoCAD and let me know your progress. Thank you for watching.